Okay, coach. So you started coaching, you got some clients, you've made some money, and now you think you're ready to step into doing this work full time. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you need to consider, questions you need to ask yourself, things you need to prepare before you make the switch to full-time coach, and exactly how to do it, legally setting up your business structure so that you have an entity that will then support you. I'm excited that you've made it to this point, and I want to make sure that you are ready for what awaits in this next stage of coaching full time. As someone who started two businesses and quit my job the first time on not the strongest foundation, let's just say that, I really had to consider doing it correctly the next time, what needed to be in place and what I needed to be effective in this new role of full-time business owner. So I want to go over a few things so that you don't struggle the way that I did or take the leap too soon before you think you have these things in place. I want you to make the leap when you are fully ready and understand all that comes with being a full-time coach. I love this work. I want you to do more of this work. And we want to make this work sustainable for the long haul, not just for a little while, but truly long haul. And let's talk about how we're going to do that. Okay. So I really want you to watch this and work through it as I'm talking. So anytime I pose a question, write it down or use the guide that I provided and go ahead and take time to answer them. You will need to refer to your income statements, however people have been paying you, a lot of things. Bank statements, money you've been spending, right? Bills that you have. So we're going to dive deep. Let's go. All right. So let's first consider how much have you made as a coach, right? Have you made $1,000? Have you made $5,000? Have you made 30,000, 50,000, right? And how long did it take you to make it? From the beginning to where you are now, all the coaching you've done, how long has it taken you to make it? How much have you made in the past 6 months? How much have you made in the past 3 months? And the reason we do this is to really understand what the money is looking like, because sometimes there's highs and lows with this coaching thing. So we want an overall picture of how things are trending so that you have a realistic number of what you're averaging, okay? You also want to consider, do you have a consistent client attraction process, right? For me, it was new me. I had a consistent way of attracting clients. For some of you, it might be posting on social media. You know, you do a certain number of posts, you get a certain number of consults, you convert a certain number of clients, right? What is your client attraction process and how many clients has that brought in? Again, in the scope of your coaching, in the last 6 months, in the last 3 months, we want to get a good picture. Here's a big one. What are your monthly expenses? I want you to take the average of the past 12 months and the past 6 months. And the reason we don't just do the past month is because you need to take into account Christmas in December. You need to take into account the family vacation in the summer. You need to take into account back to school shopping or the month where the car broke down, right? I want a good overall picture of what it's really costing you to live your life. What do you actually need? How much are you actually spending? And what is the bare minimum essential that you must make to cover your bills? You want to have a realistic number. And once you have that, you also want to think about, what do you already have saved? What have you stockpiled? Do you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved up to float you in the moments where your business is not doing so great, right? Because as an entrepreneur, there's ups and downs, not that steady salary that you may be used to. So we want to take that into consideration. When you're looking at your expenses and what you've brought in coaching, you really have to think about your current coaching fees. Is it sustainable? If you've been charging 50 an hour, right, and you notice you have maybe like 5 clients at a time, does that cover your bare minimum essentials, right? If that's what you're averaging. And does that fee need to change, or do you need to up the number of clients that you're willing to take? And what is that number that you are energetically able to take at a given time, right? And here's a big one that gets very expensive if you are living in the US. What is my plan for health insurance, right? Or dental coverage, or some of the things that come rolled into your job as benefits, right? They often sometimes also have plans in which they are pouring into your retirement plan, right? So like adding in those numbers so you see what is required for me to sustain the same level of lifestyle that I have right now, and what's the bare minimum I'm willing to do, and what concessions am I willing to make in these areas to make this thing happen for me. Deciding that ahead of time is so powerful because then you have your targets and numbers that you are trying to reach for. And it's super important to have that savings cushion because there will be slow months. There will be clients that quit. There will be clients that want refunds, right? Have you identified what your process is for all of these worst case scenarios? Because once you address it head on and you have a plan for it, you're better able to deal with it if it does happen. And by the way, it does happen. You stay in business long enough, these things will happen. It's totally normal. You just want to be ready as an individual to be able to handle them, and as a business owner to have systems in place to be able to handle these kind of things. The other metrics that you really need to be looking at before determining if you are ready to go into business full time is how many consults are you actually bringing in each month, right? What is your close rate? Based on the number of consults and the number of clients you close on average, and the fee that you are charging right now, you can kind of expect that that might continue and use that as a rough estimate. But again, like I said, there's highs and low months. So this is just a rough estimate. And again, going back to your client attraction process, what systems do you have in place to ensure you're bringing in more clients? Because while it may have been nice right now as a part-time coach to have 5, 6, even 7 or 8 clients, when you're now expecting your coaching business to support your lifestyle, that number might have to increase. And that means the volume of people that you're getting to see your offer or to come to a consultation call and then to eventually convert, that will also have to increase. Do you have a process for that, and have you tested it? Right? We don't just want to wait until after we quit to think that this is when we'll put all these things in place. We want to test it out ahead of time. We want to know we have the demand that really supports us being able to support ourselves fully from our coaching business without having to make too many major sacrifices before we're ready to.